Again, thank you everyone for being able to be here today. I'm going to disclose that we will be having a housing meeting, a joint housing meeting. So all of us on the dais tonight, council members and mayor, will receive $50 for that joint meeting. And now we will go to the first special orders of the day. And this will be the proclamation for Coach K. And come on down, Coach. And the celebration of all the girls from lacrosse making the CIF championship for Castle Park.
Sorry, I didn't have anything prepared this evening, but I wanted to say thank you to the City of Chula Vista for this recognition. It's been a long 9 years of what we've done, going from a startup program to being a CIF runner-up championship caliber team. It has not been one of the easiest journeys at all. Councilwoman Moore knows I coached her son for a year, so she knows me on a personal level, but this journey, the kids' fight and grit was one of the amazing factors of why we got so far. We fell a little short, but the majority of our roster comes back next year, and they're ready to shine and give back to our city and City of Chula Vista. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And Coach K, I'm going to go ahead and raise this proclamation and then say a couple words, and I'm glad Councilmember Moreno was able to give that to you. And recognizing Coach K for developing Castle Park High's girls varsity lacrosse team into champions. Whereas Coach K mission has been to build the South Bay in lacrosse. He has played an instrumental role in centering the girls varsity lacrosse team at Castle Park in 3 core values. Family, has been head coach of the Castle Park since 2015. These last 9 years, Coach K has seen improvement in his team by pushing them to their very best. And in the end, they have become league champions in 2021 and Division III CIF runner-ups in 2024. Whereas Coach K never played or coached lacrosse because it had no foundation and that motivated him to make them into winners. Now the team has had in 2021 called South Bay Vipers. And whereas he already sent 6 players to the college level. And whereas Coach K has been recognized as City of Chula Vista Coach of the Year in 2022, 2021, Under Armour West Region Highlight Division Assistant Coach, U.S. Lacrosse Coach of the Year in 2019, 2-time Metro South Bay Coach of the Year, and has been invited to be the training camp of the Polish women's national team. Therefore, I, John McCann, 41st Mayor of the City of Chula Vista, do hereby recognize Coach K for his accomplishments as coach, whose passion truly shows the lacrosse field on his team. Please give him a round of applause. And Coach, I just, everybody out there, I think you should understand how dedicated he is. And when you look at 20 years ago, there really was no lacrosse in the South Bay. And for somebody to take a sport that really had not had any foundation here and to be able to build it and to make it so he has multiple students who have been able to not only compete here at the CIF level, but also to be able to be on college teams. That's just incredible. So give him another round of applause. And I think, Coach, don't go away. You got another fan here who wants to say more great stuff about you.
Coach, I just want to say thank you. As you know, I've seen the growth that you've been able to provide there at Castle Park High, but I think the dedication to the students there just is unwavering. And I don't think anybody knows, but he actually left Castle Park at one point. He got a position. It was full time. It was a great opportunity, but he still came back to Castle Park because he's that committed to the kids and the program that's there. The program would not be what it is today if it wasn't for you. I just want to mirror what Mayor McCann said, but so proud of you. Thank you so much for everything you've done. You're raising great kids in our community, helping us to raise those kids. And so I just want to thank you again. Thanks.
Great job. And now we'll move on to item 4.1, proclamation of the proclaiming Alzheimer Association June as Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month for the city of Chula Vista. And come on up and we'll have Councilmember Gonzalez bring down the proclamation. I'll go ahead and read it and then we'll give you an opportunity to speak and really appreciate that you're here tonight.
Thank you.
City of Chula Vista proclaiming June 2024 as Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. Whereas nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and over have Alzheimer's disease. One of these 3 seniors dies with Alzheimer's or another dementia. And whereas according to Alzheimer's Foundation facts and figures report, in 2024, Alzheimer's and other dementias will cost the nation $360 billion, and more than 11 million caregivers provide 18 billion hours of unpaid care to those with Alzheimer's and other dementia. And in California, nearly 1.4 million people have members and friends cared for individuals with Alzheimer's and other dementia, providing 1.8 billion hours of unpaid care, with the annual value of caregivers totaling 44 trillion, and that's trillion with a T. And whereas in recognition of the individuals, families, and friends and caregivers dealing with Alzheimer's disease, the researchers who have seeking a cause for or a cure, the City of Chula Vista recognizes the efforts of the Alzheimer's Association, San Diego and Imperial County chapter to raise funds and promote awareness to fight Alzheimer's disease and other dementias, thereby improving the quality of human life for those living with Alzheimer's disease and their caregivers. And whereas the month of June 2024 has been declared Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, to help spread global awareness of Alzheimer's Association's vision of imagining a world without Alzheimer's disease. Therefore, I, John McCann, 41st Mayor of the City of Chula Vista, do hereby proclaim June 2024 as Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. And the floor is yours.
Thank you. My name is Travis Chrisman, board member of the San Diego and Imperial County chapter of the Alzheimer's Association and a Chula Vista native. I'm joined by Eric Thompson, our media director, and Agnes Chigovich, a community engagement manager serving South Bay. Together, we are very honored and grateful to accept on our chapter's behalf this proclamation from the City of Chula Vista, recognizing June as Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. As the city's proclamation notes, there are nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and over with Alzheimer's disease. Data also shows more than 75,000 of those Americans are living here in San Diego County. Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month was created to bring awareness to honor those individuals, as well as many more millions of friends and family members who are caregiving for someone with the disease. The Alzheimer's Association leads the way to end Alzheimer's and all other dementia by accelerating global research, driving risk reduction and early detection, and maximizing quality care and support. Here in Chula Vista, we support our community by conducting educational programs for caregivers and people who recently received an Alzheimer's diagnosis, fundraising for research initiatives that will improve existing treatment options and identify a cure, partnering with South Bay organizations to provide community members resources and support, most recently hosting our bilingual caregiver conference right here in Chula Vista. All of our activities have the goal of cultivating a community that is connected, resilient, and informed about navigating the many challenges posed by Alzheimer's and other dementia. Thank you again to the City of Chula Vista for recognizing June as Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. I am hopeful and confident that through our collective efforts, that one day we can soon end Alzheimer's together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good job, Alonso. Now we will go ahead and move to consent calendar. We have items 5.1 through 5.12. And do we have any items that anybody on the dais would like to pull? Member Chavez, it looks like you're interested in pulling one?
No, we're not, I'm not pulling it.
Okay. And over here, nobody? Okay. What we're going to do then is I'm going to allow the speakers to speak on the items. There are a couple items that council members on the dais and myself have conflicts on. I'll go ahead and read those. Per the city attorney, we don't have to pull those items or vote on those directly, and we can be out here. But on item 5.5, I need to recuse myself. 5.9, and there are several items on here because these goes over these open space districts. Myself, Mayor McCann, has to disqualify and not vote on resolution C and F. So I will go ahead and recuse myself on those. Member Chavez has to recuse herself on resolution C and E for 5.9. Member Preciado has to recuse himself on resolution A for 5.9. And then also Member Moreno has to recuse herself on resolution D for 5.9. But with that, Madam Clerk, if you could please call the first speaker.
Yes, we have two speakers on consent calendar items. The first speaker is John Acosta, followed by Delia Dominguez Cervantes.
Good afternoon. Once again, I'm really against you approving the minutes without reading them. One of the things I'm here to talk about right now is the 5.5 about the industrial park and bicycles, pedestrians. You all are building, we need sidewalks more than we need bicycles, trails. Because, you know, you had to have sidewalk to make it safe. And I spoke to Councilmember Purcell before, and I gave him pictures of people having to walk on the street because there's no way for them to walk on because there's no sidewalk. There's no sidewalk, so we need to focus on that. On item 5.7, you're always talking about building 96 units. You're talking about building housing, but you don't talk about parking. Keep in mind, you know, if you have a home somewhere, you know, they say within 3 miles walk to a public bus, a disabled old person cannot walk 3 miles. So therefore, you know, you need to make sure whoever you're gonna approve any plans, construction, make sure they provide parking. For one example, I could give you a senior house. It is, for example, the cities on Broadway. They have apartment, they have parking in the inside. So therefore, you need to make sure and consider about the senior population. Every time you talk about building, bringing things to the community, you don't include the senior community or the disabled community. It is very important to put in your conversation. If you need somebody to remind you during the meeting, let me know. I'll be glad to meet with you. And don't try to approve this behind closed doors, because it is very important for you to include the senior community and the disabled community. Not because somebody is able to walk doesn't mean he or she is not disabled. There's a lot of disabilities that you cannot be seen. So therefore, make sure you include in the planning, and every single planning, parking for the disabled, parking for those residents in there. Because, a lot of times there's parking, but there's no disabled parking. So make sure that you include that. And, in the 97 units, there's going to be a lot of cars in there, a lot of people coming in there, because it doesn't say if it's a single person or adult how many people are going to be living there. So therefore, the limited parking that is available in the community is going to be taken for a lot of people. So make sure you include parking.
The next speaker is Delia Dominguez Cervantes.
Good evening. First, thank you, Councilwoman Carolina Chavez, for holding that town meeting on Saturday. I think it was very beneficial, and having all the different representatives from the departments really helped as well. City Manager, you got some attaboys while you were not there, but you got some attaboys there. And I would look forward to the rest of your council persons to hold some of these meetings. And I know Councilwoman Moreno has already got 2 of them set up, one tomorrow and one the following month as well. Thank you. And while I'm speaking on item 5.7, the housing funding, and this is something that both thank you, Councilman Apreciado, you've brought up before as well, and I have, that we need clarity on that process. And I'll just be echoing this over and over on how our community, because it does call out low-income housing, permanent housing, how our Chula Vista community is going to have the first say-so, and how they're going to access that housing that's built, and not other cities. It has to be, and I know Alonso, Councilmember Alonso, you've also nodded to the affirmation that, yes, that our city should have the first say-so and get into that housing. And along those same lines, I know that we're very limited as to how much time we can speak on the different items, but Councilwoman Carolina Chavez, I'm still waiting to get a call. I know I've been waiting for months. We're supposed to try and meet with you guys in advance, so that, because our time was cut back as far as how the time that we could speak, I'm still waiting for your staff to call me on a meeting so we can address more specific times. And my phone number, you have it. Please contact me. We're anxious to have this meeting so that we can iron out some of the issues in advance. And also, we've met with Mr. Preciado, he answers his phone right away and gives us an appointment. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. You always point me to Jared, and he says hello, and then I never hear from him. Thank you.
That concludes the public speakers this evening.
Member Preciado, did you want to speak on this item?
Yes, with regard to some of the parking requirements of developments, there are a number of state laws that have created or have facilitated for developers the changes in the number of parking and requirements, and we have been updating, including later today, we'll be updating some of those regulations that are mandated by the state. And I'm very aware of efforts that are underway that are inclusive of accommodating seniors and disabled communities in many of these new facilities is just practice. Having said that, specifically on the investments on Anita Road and F Street, those are two major thoroughfares that have an opportunity to be developed and developed in a manner that serves a variety of individuals. And so that isn't to take anything away from any needs of parking, any needs of sidewalks or any other amenities that may be needed in other areas. But I just wanted to say that for both Anita and the F Street Promenade, these are critical investments that will serve thousands of our residents and our visitors, and I think it's critical that we support them. And the last thing, I did want to engage in discussion on 5.7. We recently adopted a new housing element or housing policies. And among those policies, we emphasized or created an order of preference for access to these facilities. And I'm just wondering if staff can restate those or when we're going to get a chance to update. Is Stacy Kurtz here today?
Yeah, Member Preciado, that's an item that is on the consent calendar. Would you like to pull that item? And
No.
then we can have a
I was just-
presentation on that?
I didn't think that was necessary. I was just hoping that whatever we adopted something a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if it takes effect on that project or if it doesn't include that project. But it's up to you. A brief comment from Stacy Kurtz could probably clarify, but if you want me to pull it so that we get more clarity, I can.
Well, I would think we'd want to, if we're going to start asking staff questions on items and they're on consent, and it's not just a brief comment, that we probably should be respectful and go ahead and pull that item.
All right, I'll pull it.
Okay,
5.7.
we'll pull that item. Okay. What we'll do then is, I don't see any more speakers from the dais. Again, I'm going to go ahead and remind everybody that we have, because it is consent calendar items, that there are some recusals. 5.5, I will be recusing my vote on 5.5. For 5.9, I will be recusing my, voting on resolution C and F for 5.9. Chavez will be recusing herself on 5.9, resolution C and E. Member Preciado on 5.9 will be recusing himself on item number A. And Member Moreno will be recusing herself on resolution D. Do I have a motion?
I move approval of the consent agenda with the noted recusals as you've outlined.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, if you could please read the heading.
Yes, thank you. And Mr. Mayor, if I could clarify for the record, the recusals that you announced, are they all property-related conflicts of interest?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. Item 5.1 is approval of the minutes dated May 14th, 21st, and 28th, 2024. Item 5.2 is approval of a motion to read only the title and waive the reading of the text of all resolutions and ordinances at this meeting. Item 5.3A is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista declaring its intention to establish proposed Community Facilities District number 2024-1, Citrus Bay, of the City of Chula Vista and taking other actions relating thereto. Item 5.3B is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista declaring the necessity to incur a bonded indebtedness of Community Facilities District number 2024-1, Citrus Bay, to be secured by special taxes levied therein, to pay for the acquisition or construction of certain public facilities. Item 5.4 is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving the Fifth Amendment to the Memorandum of Understanding among the co-permittees of the San Diego County National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System municipal permit, and authorizing and directing the mayor to sign the Fifth Amendment on behalf of the city. Item 5.5 is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista authorizing the submittal of 2 active transportation program Cycle 7 grant applications for the F Street Promenade Phase 2 project and the Anita Street and Industrial Boulevard Bicycle and Pedestrian Improvements Project, and stating the city's assurance to complete the projects. Item 5.6 is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista adopting a list of projects for fiscal year 2024-25 funded by SB 1, the Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017, 4/5 vote required. Item 5.7 has been pulled. Item 5.8 is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista establishing the appropriations limit, GAN limit, for the City of Chula Vista for fiscal year 2024 through 2025. Item 5.9A is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista initiating proceedings for the levy and collection of assessments for fiscal year 2024-25 for open space districts 1 through 11, 14, 15, 17, 18, 20, 23, 24, 26, 31, 33, East Lake Maintenance District Number 1, Town Center Maintenance District, and Bay Boulevard Maintenance District pursuant to the Landscaping and Lighting Act of 1972. Item 5.9B is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving the engineer's report, declaring the intention to levy and for open space districts 3 through 11, 14, 15, 17, 18, 20, zones 1 through 4, 6, 8, and 9, 23, 24, 26, 31, 33, East Lake Maintenance District Number 1, Town Center Maintenance District, and Bay Boulevard Maintenance District. Item 5.9C is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving the engineer's report, declaring the intention to levy and collect assessments, and setting a public hearing regarding the fiscal year 2024-25 assessments for Open Space District 1. Resolution of the City Council, item 5.9D is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving the engineer's report, declaring the intention to levy and collect assessments, and setting a public hearing regarding the fiscal year 2024-25 assessments for Open Space District 2. Item 5.9E is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving the engineer's report, declaring the intention to levy and collect assessments, and setting a public hearing regarding the fiscal year 2024-25 assessments for Open Space District 20, Zone 5. And item 5.9F is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving the engineer's report, declaring the intention to levy and collect assessments, and setting a public hearing regarding the fiscal year 2024-25 assessments for Open Space District 20, Zone 7. Item 5.10 is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving the First Amendment to the EMS Billing and Collections Agreement with Whitman Enterprises, LLC, to increase the annual not-to-exceed amount to $1 million and the overall not-to-exceed amount to $3,250,000. Item 5.11 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista authorizing the city manager to execute necessary agreement amendments to enhance the Chula Vista Community Shuttle Pilot Program. Item 5.12 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving an amendment to the agreement with the County of San Diego for continued participation in the California Identification System Remote Access Network. End of consent.
Please vote on the current city consent calendar. Items carries unanimously. Thank you very much. We will now move on to public comments. I do want to make sure a couple items. We do have an item 8.1 that is a time certain item at 6 o'clock. We want to make sure that the public can participate as well as we have an attorney. We want to make sure that we're utilizing the best time, his time, and making sure we save the city some money. When you do public comments, I would respectfully ask that you be very civil, especially when dealing with our employees. Our employees work really hard to be able to provide quality services for our citizens, and they deserve your respect. With that, Madam Clerk, if you can call the first speaker.
Yes, the first speaker is Joseph Rasso, followed by Margarito Cordero, followed by Dave DeFasci.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council. I am here again in an attempt to soften your hearts by revealing the pain and suffering you are creating for Chula Vista's rental and homeless community. By threatening to levy $5,000 daily fines on mom and pop property owners and tenants who have made inadvertent paperwork errors has contributed to the largest rent increase in Chula Vista's history. The PS section of this letter that you have received contains data presented by city staff over a year ago, itemizing the severe financial hardship inflicted on the most vulnerable residents by the Tenant Protection Ordinance. Despite this compelling evidence, the City Council has failed to take any corrective action. This inaction is profoundly concerning. Below are two clauses within the TPO which causes the most financial harm to Chula Vista renters. I won't read the clauses. You guys know the damage you're creating with those two clauses. I won't read them again. In my 75 years, I have never witnessed a city council so neglectful of the community it claims to represent. The data represented by staff unequivocally shows that the TPO has placed an immense burden on renters and the homeless, yet there's been no effort to address this dire issue. A practical solution exists to align the TPO with state mandates without harming renters. By implementing a simple notification process before issuing penalties, we can encourage compliance and focus on actual offenders. This approach complies with California's requirements and protects tenants from unnecessary financial strain. Moreover, it's crucial to address the city staff's unilateral authority to modify TPO regulations without council's oversight. This unchecked power has led thousands of landlords raising rents preemptively to avoid potential fines, exasperating the problem. I urge you to recognize the gravity of the situation, take immediate action. Your attention to this matter is not just necessary, it's imperative for the well-being of our community. I pray this information rekindles your commitment to serving the people of Chula Vista. I got about a half a minute left. I wanted to shoot from the hip, but I have, for 52 years, I've been a landlord. I believed in the philosophy, if you take care of the tenants take care of you. That's why the majority of my properties I rent utilities paid. So though I write the check for the SCG&E, the tenant in reality pays it. I'll pay the Chula Vista sewer bill, the tenant pays it. Insurance, Republic Service, Cox Communication with premium channels, property tax. Although I write the checks that tenant pays for it, so when you force me to put $5,000 money aside to pay fines that are coming, the rent's going through the roof. You guys are killing them. Time's up. I'll be back next week to show you pictures of the people that you're hurting. Thank you.
The next speaker is Margarito Cordero, followed by Dave DeFasci, followed by Francisco Reyes.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Margarito Corrado, Supervisor for Public Works Street Maintenance Division. I have been in the city 13 years. With cost of living 44% higher than the national average, the time to make a difference is now. It is important to recognize that every ACE employee is making a difference daily, from streets department, which includes street reconstruction, pothole patching, machine overlays, trash and homeless cleanup throughout the whole city, signs and striping, right-of-way crews taking care of medians, trees, graffiti, our fleet department, which takes care of all city vehicles and equipment that keep the city running. Wastewater department takes care of all sewer systems, storm drains, and channels. Construction and repair doing maintenance on all city buildings. Custodians, parks department, and city rangers all making a difference on maintaining 72 parks. It is important that we recognize every ACE member for the hard work they do every day. Our members should not be in the middle to bottom of that pay scale chart. Our employees are trained and expected to learn and apply everything within their job descriptions. I would respectfully ask that all employees should be at the top of all other municipalities. We train to be the best. We don't train our employees to be average, so anything within that range or below shouldn't even be considered. In the last year, we have lost 8 employees, including those within leadership roles, to San Diego Gas and Electric, Sweetwater Authority, and Otay Water District, and Helix Water District, due to higher pay and benefits. This is very concerning and it needs to be analyzed. This is why we can't be below the median of this chart when it comes down to our pay scale. We are trying our best to motivate our employees to stay here with the city, but we can't do that without working together and making sure our employees get rewarded. Once again, we train our employees to be well-rounded and progress to journey level. Most of our jobs are skilled trades and require countless hours of in-house training. Our training integrates the pride of work values shared by all city employees: professionalism, accountability, respect, teamwork, and integrity. By the end of the training, a maintenance worker one must have a commercial license, have the ability to run our patch truck, and respond to on-call emergencies. This makes our employees highly desirable. Currently, our city is being used as a stepping stone to get the necessary training and then move on to higher paid municipalities or utility companies. It is important to consider that we have a young workforce and they are looking for better paying jobs. I really believe that the only reason why we aren't losing any more employees is because these companies don't have any openings. Thank you.
The next speaker is Dave DeFashi, followed by Francisco Reyes, followed by Jerry Rios.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council members, and city officials. My name is Dave DeFashi. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. Wow, that was quite a speech there. I don't have anything near that to say, but essentially on the same line, I need to make you aware of the fact that we are trending to become a training ground in my division, which is Landscape Architecture Division. Over several years now, we have lost very qualified people to other municipalities and governmental agencies. And I believe it's primarily due to the compensation packages that we offer at this time. So being a training ground is not really the problem. The problem with that is we as remaining employees have to focus a lot of our time to the training versus actually accomplishing the job that we're set to do. And the example I'm giving represents ACE employees and also the next union up, which would be professional and mid-manager. So just to note that, and that's it. Have a good evening.
The next speaker is Francisco Reyes, followed by Jerry Rios, followed by John Acosta.
Dear Mayor and esteemed council members, my name is Francisco Reyes, as you say. We are here today as a team of dedicated public maintenance workers to respectfully request fair compensation for our work and labor in Chula Vista, the second largest city in San Diego County. Over the years, we have collectively dedicated ourselves to maintaining the cleanliness, safety, and beauty of our city. However, the rapid growth and development of Chula Vista have significantly increased our workload. The city's population has grown substantially, leading to more use of infrastructure, public services, and parks. Despite these rising demands, our wages have not kept pace with the cost of living. The growth of our city is a testament of its success, but it also means more responsibilities for public maintenance workers like us. We are essential to ensuring that Chula Vista remains a desirable place to live, work, and visit. Our work is fundamental to the city's success, impacting everything from public safety to the overall quality of life for residents. Without fair compensation, it is becoming increasingly difficult to sustain the level of dedication and quality that our community deserves. We kindly urge do you recognize the critical role we play in the success of Chula Vista and to consider providing a fair wage increase that reflects our contributions and the city growth. Your support in this matter is vital for us to continue delivering the high standards of service expected in Chula Vista. Thank you for your attention for this important issue. Sincerely, ACE, Park Department, Street Department, Wastewater Department, and all public works employees. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Jerry Rios, followed by John Acosta, followed by Raymond Tovar.
Hey, Jerry,
How you guys doing today?
we're well.
Thanks for taking your time out to listen to us today, Ms. Cachadorian as well. Most of us here took probably a day off from work. I have a second job as well. Most of us do too, or grandchildren or kids themselves. So to be here and pour our souls out and our words to you guys, to let you guys know how much we are below standard in pay, takes a lot of time away from our family. I also am a resident here as well. City of Chula Vista, I own a home. Everything is going up. SDG&E, gas, food, water, everywhere you go. Our sewer, my sewer, everyone's sewer who lives here just went up 10%. See anyone else that supports the city there. We're there till it's over, make sure everyone's healthy, make sure everything's running smooth. So again, we do put in a lot of hours. And again, sometimes we miss our hours with our kids because we're here to put the city first and our jobs first, because without pay, we can't support our livelihood. And again, just take into consideration that we do have lives just like you guys, and we spend a lot of time away from home and our families. And to be here to take a day off does cost money and time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
The next speaker is John Acosta, followed by Raymond Tovar. Sir, the
Good
next,
evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Chula Vista City Council. My name is John Kalpis. You
excuse
may
me, Mr.
remember me
Kalpis.
addressing the council about 9 weeks ago, making sound effects.
Mr. Kalpis, I'm sorry, the next speaker on the list is John Acosta,
Oh, very-
followed by Raymond Tovar.
My apologies.
That's okay, no problem. Those
Sounded very similar. Yeah, right.
That'll be the end of the speakers under the first public comment section. We do have 2 additional speakers, including you, Mr. Kalpis, under the second public comment section, which will be held later in the meeting.
I have a question. How can you all sit there, listen to the gentleman here that work that do the cleaning for the city when you all got a raise? Maria got, she'll be earning 330,700 a year. So they, you know, how is it gonna do it? According to the press, you know, they're gonna collect the taxes, property taxes, which everything's gonna go up. So, you know, instead of you, what I would suggest to you to freeze your money that you're gonna receive as an increased payment and give it to a gentleman, give it to a police where they need it. It is unfair. It is unfair for them to do the work while you're sitting there just smiling, thinking, oh, I don't have to worry about it. Why? Because I'm getting 330,000 a year. That is very unfair. Those people, you know, the police, they say we don't have people to go to a marina simply because there's no funding. But then again, you voted yourself a raise, which is really unfair. It is a money. It is a money. You're supposed to take care of the city, not yourself. Now, you know, what have you done since you got elected or selected by Andrea and put you there? You all know who you are. You all know who contributes to your campaign. You were selected and appointed, right, Alonso? You got appointed there. So therefore, you know, you freeze the raise that you all voted yourselves, including yours, Maria, and give it to a gentleman that they need the service. They need the service because what you're creating is a homeless problem. It is a homeless problem. So, you know, take into consideration about those people that are in a fixed income. The sewage, the property tax, everything is going to go up. But, you know, it doesn't matter how much you make because, you know, it's not enough to cover, especially the senior community where they have fixed income. You guys don't think about that. Why? Because all you have to do is buy yourself a raise, right? Right, Maria? 330,000. Is it fair for the gentleman to work from sunset to sunrise while you're sitting there in your comfortable office? Also, what about the money you gave to the manager for coffee? What was it, 17,000 a year to buy coffee? That is very unfair. Give it to them, give it to the police. We need a public service. We need assistance in the streets. We need a city better, not people with big bank accounts.
The next speaker is Raymond Tovar.
Well, That was powerful. Dear Mayor and esteemed council members, I'm Raymond Tovar. I came to address a critical issue affecting the public maintenance workers employed by the city of Chula Vista, our urgent need for a raise in wages. As a public maintenance worker, we take great pride in keeping our city clean, safe, and beautiful. Our responsibilities range from maintaining parks, public spaces, to ensure the proper functioning of the city's infrastructures. Also responding to emergencies, working storm watch, working long hours, making sure sandbags are made for the residents. This work is not only essential for day-to-day life of our residents, but also for long-term well-being and appeal of city of Chula Vista. Despite our dedication and hard work, many of us are struggling to keep up with the rising costs of living. Our wages have not kept pace with inflation and increased expenses, making it challenging to support our families and meet basic needs. This financial strain affects our morale and ultimately our ability to perform our duties to the best of our abilities. A fair wage increase is not just a matter of financial necessity, it is a recognition of the invaluable contributions we make to the community. Proper compensation would enable us to continue our work with the dedication and excellence that the residents of Chula Vista deserve. We don't look at all, desirable for people to come work for the city of Chula Vista. We lose a lot of people to outside departments, other cities that have better wages or benefits. So we urge you to consider the importance of our roles and the impact of our wage increase on our lives and the quality of service we provide. Your support in this matter would be deeply appreciated and will significantly enhance our abilities to serve this wonderful city. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Ace.
Thank you.
We have two additional speakers under public comments that we will go ahead and take at this time. The next speaker is John Kalpis, followed by Delia Dominguez Cervantes.
Good evening once again. I feel privileged to do this twice in one evening. Thank you. Thank you all
you
so
very much,
I'm here to
Mr.
help make
Kalpis.
Chula Vista a better place. I was here 9 weeks ago talking about the noise at the Bayfront, Chula Vista's Bayfront Park, which is at the end of E Street. I'm sure you all know where that is. In spite of my documenting the continuing problems with the various car clubs meeting almost every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and often the Friday before, all coming with the concomitant noise and loud amplified music, the mayhem has continued. Mayor McCann, at our last meeting, you kindly referred me to speaking with Captain Henry Martin after my presentation, and thank you for that. Captain Martin and I had a congenial and illuminating discussion for almost 45 minutes. He explained that he would redouble the police department's effort to patrolling the park, and I certainly appreciate that. In spite of this, the craziness has continued. On Sunday, April 24th, more than 75 cars and more than 50 motorcycles started streaming into the park around noon. I called the police department and was on hold for 22 minutes. I understand that. I held up and called Captain Martin's cell phone that he kindly gave me the number to and found there was no way to leave a message. I called the police department back again, and after another 5 minutes, I was able to get a hold of a dispatcher who was able to send a patrol. This is a complete waste of time for the Chula Vista Police Department. They have much better things to do. The problem is obviously not being solved because the Municipal Code 2.66.285, which I referenced below in the paper that you have, is not being enforced. I believe a park should be a place where people can escape from constant noise of the city, not a place where noise can be amplified. These car rallies are fine. I have some friends that are doing this. I certainly appreciate that. But in the marina, many of those people only visit their boats on the weekend, and these rallies constantly disturb the people that are trying to enjoy life on the water on their boats. As recently as this morning, someone felt that it was okay to set off a pyrotechnic rocket from the park at 4:57 a.m. this morning. The entire area was awakened by the explosion. No one here would tolerate that happening in their own community. It should never be tolerated in a public park. So I have two suggestions. Number one, there are gates at the park. Let's close them. The park is supposed to be closed between 9:30 in the evening and 6 o'clock in the morning. Simply closing those gates would eliminate that problem of disturbances overnight. Suggestion number two, I suggest that the police department regularly patrol the park starting with Friday evenings as well as Saturday and Sundays and start issuing citations as necessary and to the people who don't care about the community finally get the message that peace and quiet is an inalienable right. Frankly, I'm keenly aware of the staffing shortfalls of the police department. I've heard the mayor announce that this is a key priority, and I understand that. This is exactly why we need to solve the problem and not simply kick the proverbial very loud can down the road. Respectfully, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
The final speaker under public comments is Delia Dominguez Cervantes.
Yay, I was number 9, and I got in on the first half. Thank you. Two things. Again, thank you. I'm looking forward to the meetings that we can set up. But secondly, I don't know if you've all noticed the different fruit booths that are popping up all over Chula Vista. They're both on the west side and then heading into the east of Chula Vista as well. I don't know what the city intends to do with those. I know people are hurting. As the gentleman behind me spoke, inflation is hitting everyone very hard. Loaf of bread is twice the amount that it used to be a few years ago. And I know people need to work, and so they're just trying to make a living too. I mean, it's not that I condone it, but I understand people are just trying to make a living. They're not selling drugs, they're selling fruit. You know, they're trying to work. But what are we going to do about it? Are we going to engage with them and tell them to go through the whole process of getting the certifications, the business license, and food handling? I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know that I want to encourage it, but something has to be done. And especially with the uptick of different other health diseases that we haven't had in years that are now showing up as far as health issues, it's only going to encourage that. That's why you have health food handling permits and processes, so those things can be eliminated or at least minimized. So I think we do have a problem up there. More of them are showing up in the middle of a street. Like if you go down East J Street, those old streets there, they're there. They're over by, actually it turns out, so I don't know if you need to work with the sheriffs, the Bonita corner that turns in, if you're going east on Bonita Road where it becomes Proctor Valley Road, that back road, there's one there on that corner, on the other, right across the street from Sweetwater Park. They're scattered. They're all over on Orange Avenue, but people are just trying to make a living. So I get it. These guys might be the ones that are going to end up on that corner selling fruit, you know, to make a living. But permit them, do something to help them. Thank you.
That concludes the public speakers.
And are there any e-comments?
Yes, there were 2 e-comments received under public comments.
Thank you very much. We have an item that's time certain at 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and just take a 3-minute break, and then we'll come back and go ahead and do the item for the public hearing at 8.1. Thank you. Oh, it's part of your family. Hello, everybody. We're going to continue with the city council meeting, and we're going to start the item that is 8.1, which is the time certain for 6 p.m. And I'm excited for this item and have a lot of great cleanup here. I think Laura Black and her team have done an incredibly great job, and I will go ahead and hand it over to her for her presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Chris Malik, Senior Planner within the Development Services Department. Tonight's item covers proposed amendments to the Chula Vista Municipal Code. The proposed revisions in tonight's item aim to continue to streamline and clarify permit processes and regulations, fix outdated references, and comply with state law. The revisions are broken down into 4 broad categories: jurisdictional and procedural, state law compliance, land use and development, and process improvements. The first category covers expanding the permitting authority within the public right-of-way and scheduling items for city council meetings. The second category covers changes needed to comply with recently adopted state law. The third category covers revisions within Title 19 and applies mostly to land use or development standards. And lastly, the last category pertains to process improvements. This covers updates to existing processes for projects or permits, including substantial conformance review, approval authority for planned sign programs, and rebuilding non-conforming structures. The Development Oversight Committee recommended approval of this item at their meeting on January 17th of this year. On May 8th of this year, the Plan Commission unanimously voted to approve the proposed code amendments with requested changes to the following areas: design review permit thresholds, Senate Bill 9 urban lot split and ownership requirements, and accessory dwelling unit size and ownership requirements. Further details on those changes, along with staff's recommendation, will be discussed in tonight's presentation. Permits pertaining to the public right-of-way are issued by the Development Services Department. This can include consultation with the engineering department, overseen by the city engineer, in charge of the city's capital improvement projects. In many instances, the code requires approval or action by the city engineer for actions related to the public right-of-way. And to help streamline reviews, this amendment adds a designee in addition to the city engineer for permitting authority for public right-of-way permits. The city's charter was recently amended, stating that any item that can be heard at a regular city council meeting can also be heard at a special city council meeting. Several code sections still restrict the type of city council meetings at which certain items can be heard, and staff proposes to revise the applicable municipal code titles to be consistent with the city's charter. The second overall category for state law compliance starts with Senate Bill 9 urban lot splits. An urban lot split parcel map results in the subdivision of 2 parcels from a single lot zoned either R1 or RE. As the code currently reads, it has caused some confusion as to the ultimate number of units that can be developed on a single parcel as a result of the lot split. Therefore, staff proposes to clarify the number of total units that can be developed and ensure the language in the code is clarified. The Plan Commission made an additional revision to this item at their May 8th meeting. They recommended removal of the owner occupancy requirements for newly created units from the SB 9 ordinance. Currently, the state legislation is being challenged in the Los Angeles Superior Court. Staff does not recommend the Plan Commission's additional amendment until there is resolution of the legal case pertaining to SB 9. Therefore, the proposed revision by the Plan Commission is not incorporated into tonight's item. The state government code outlines that no jurisdiction shall allow an attached ADU to be smaller than 850 square feet for a studio or 1-bedroom unit and 1,000 square feet for a unit having more than 1 bedroom. Our code reflects the government code language, but also allows the size to be 50% of the size of the primary house, whichever is greater. And this could potentially lead to much larger ADUs if the primary house is more than 2,000 square feet. Staff is recommending revising the applicable code section to remove the whichever is greater language for better consistency with the government code. The Plan Commission made an additional revision to this item at their May 8th meeting, and the recommended removal of 1, 50% of the primary house language related to the size of attached ADUs, and 2, the ADU owner occupancy requirements. Staff supports both of these recommendations, and they are incorporated into tonight's item as attachment 5. These recommendations both clarify the attached ADU size regulations and bring the code into compliance with Assembly Bill 976, which prohibits local agencies from requiring owner occupancy of the primary dwelling or ADU. Currently, the code is silent on electric vehicle sales and services. Staff recommends adding electric vehicle sales and services as a permitted by right use within the CT or thoroughfare commercial and IL or limited industrial zoning designations. These zones allow for businesses selling gasoline-powered vehicles. Calculating density on a property is dictated by the Associated General Plan land use designation and the property size. However, the R3 or apartment residential zoning designation is the only residential zoning designation in the code that calculates density in a different manner. This creates confusing and conflicting direction for developers. Additionally, there are definitions in the R3 zone that are obsolete. The proposed amendment is to remove the density calculation and the gross and net density definitions from the R3 zone to be consistent with all other residential zones in the code. There are no standards in Title 19 that speak to the usage of temporary and permanent storage containers. Staff proposes adding a new code section containing standards for temporary and permanent storage containers. This includes allowing containers on a temporary basis in residential zones for storage and construction purposes and non-residential zones on both a temporary and permanent basis for storage purposes. Residential property owners can store recreational vehicles and/or trailers on their property. However, city code enforcement officers routinely deal with complaints from the public regarding the number of vehicles stored on a property. Currently, there is not a specified limit to the number of recreational vehicles that can be stored on a property within the code, leading to a gray area of how much is too much. The proposed amendment includes adding additional language in the code, allowing no more than a total of 2 motorhomes or camping trailers at any time on a residentially zoned property or a property with a residential use. Residential property owners can also operate a business out of their home, typically called a home occupation. These businesses are required to be compatible with surrounding residential uses. However, the code is currently silent on how a home-based business can comply with this requirement. Staff proposes to add additional standards for home occupations to ensure that residential neighborhood compatibility. This includes limitations on customer and foot traffic, commercial vehicles, and outdoor equipment storage. When a discretionary permit is approved, sometimes minor modifications need to be made for various reasons without the need to trigger a full additional discretionary review, and there are no current provisions in the code for such modifications. Example of these minor modifications include small changes to building design and footprint, landscaping, parking layout, and conditions of approval. The proposed amendment adds a new section for substantial conformance review that will allow approved projects a way to make minor modifications without an additional full discretionary review. The zoning administrator is granted limited authority within the code to make a determination of use for any use that is not listed within a particular zone. For example, allowing car dealerships or fitness studios in a thoroughfare commercial zone while also allowing them in a limited industrial zone. However, there's not language that allows the zoning administrator the discretion to restrict that use determination to certain zones and not others. Staff proposes to add additional procedural language for determinations of use, giving the zoning administrator more leeway in applying determinations in different zones. The code currently requires that the Planning Commission shall either approve or deny all planned silent programs. This can create confusion over the cost and lengthy approval timeline for applicants for a relatively minor permit type. The proposed amendment revises the decision purview to the zoning administrator, and this will ensure timely approvals for this minor permit type. There are no findings in the code pertaining to what a decision maker must find to approve design review permits and coastal development permits, and the proposed amendment is to include adding findings of approval for both discretionary permit types. Currently, the code requires a discretionary permit for minor additions to already built structures. For example, if a small architectural feature like patio covers and shade structures were proposed on a multifamily structure, it would require a discretionary permit, typically design review, rather than a ministerial building permit.